Hey, it's Emma-Louise. Just a quick heads up before we dive into the episode. If you're an ambitious introvert and you are serious about who you really want to become and what you want to achieve in your work and your life, and I don't just mean the goals, but also your identity, how you want to show up and how you want to perform, then you will want to check out Introvert 2.0. It's my brand new mini mastermind designed to help you future-proof your success by really strengthening the traits that actually matter in this next era of work. Presence, calm confidence, sustainable energy, and a stronger sense of self-trust. The first small cohort kicks off in mid-September, and there are just 4 spots. I won't bend your ear too much about it now, but head to the show notes and check out the link if you'd like more details. Or listen to episode 221 if you're on the back catalogue for a taste of the type of thing that we will explore inside Introvert 2.0. Now, on with the episode. There's no denying the fact that the next era of work is absolutely made for introverts. We're now entering a time where the skills that no one used to measure or even care about are actually becoming the most essential. An unnatural edge as an introvert, such as deep thinking, emotional steadiness, and the ability to stay grounded and present, is actually no longer optional. It is the future of work. And as they say, the future started yesterday. So join me in this solo episode where I'm going to share 4 really important observations that I've made through my work over the last 6 months, both with clients, with other experts and consultants, with futurists, with keynote speakers, with human resources departments, and share with you what I think are the 4 biggest takeaways as introverts that we need to take into this next era of work, whether that is in a job or as a business owner. Welcome to The Ambitious Introvert, the leading growth and development podcast for the estimated 56% of us who recharge by going inwards. Our purpose is to help you manage your social battery and own your energy so you can reach your true potential in your business, your career, or your life. I'm your host, Emma-Louise Parks, a former air traffic controller, entrepreneur, and a success coach with over 15 years experience. I've supported hundreds of introverts like you who dream big and are ready to take action towards making those dreams a reality without compromising their energy in the process. Each week, my guests and I will be sharing tips, tricks, and hacks on how to build your resilience, master your mindset, and cultivate self-leadership. Skills that will help you reach your goals without trying to be someone that you're not. We'll also be sharing valuable lessons and insights from our own personal experiences, all focused on one thing: helping you own your energy to reach your potential. Never has there been a time in history where such rapid change has been apparent in such a short period of time. And every decade, really, if we look since the new technologies that came out after and because of World War II, every decade has grown exponentially in the rate of change because of technology, because of society. But now where we're at, if I look at this, mid 2020s era, even the difference from when I started this business in 2019, when I look at the difference of, some of the industries that my clients work in, the changes and the shifts because of AI, because of automation, because of political instability, because of the world we live in, the changes are insane and they are coming thick and fast. And there is no reason to think that that is going to change or slow down. So if you are a high achiever, high performer, and you are looking to go places in your career, or if you're a business owner and you understand that you need to keep up because things change so rapidly, then I'm going to be sharing 4 observations that I've made in the last 6 months or so that really solidify to me that introversion is the way of the future. And you're probably thinking, finally, it's our moment in the sun. And I do think it absolutely is. I think that there are so many traits that we have as introverts that just naturally lend us to this period of work, even though It's uncertain, it's unstable, it's fast moving. You may think, hey, oh, that doesn't sound too much fun. But the thing is, everyone is in the same boat. Introvert, extrovert, ambivert, whatever. Everyone has to deal with this. And if you can get ahead, if you can understand what might be coming, and even if you don't know what's coming, if you can put yourself in a position to be resilient and able to deal with that change and adapt, you are going to be the most employable, the most hireable person, and you're going to be able to perform sustainably, which is a huge point that I'm going to talk about as well. Okay, so I'm just going to get on with this. My first observation is that the type of leadership we have seen in the past, especially from the 90s, the very male-driven, extroverted leadership, is actually becoming a liability in the current workplace. Environments are now getting increasingly complex, and attention spans are decreasing thanks social media and TikTok. But because of that, this kind of performative loud leadership actually falls apart. Because what you end up with are very reactive teams, fragmented decision-making that doesn't really lead anywhere, and essentially poor resilience because people are in that reactive state all the time. Recent research from McKinsey found that in what they call high-change environments, and this is a direct quote from them, calm, consistent communication from leadership is one of the top predictors of team effectiveness. I'll say that again. Calm, consistent communication from leadership. So that leads to more effective teams. In the past, it was believed that having a charismatic leader or a very fast leader or a very visible leader was the thing that helped. But now we're understanding it's the quality, the calmness and the consistency of how leadership communicate with others that has the biggest impact on how teams work. Huge. We've all seen managers who think that being visible is the same as being present. But, they're there, they might be walking the shop floor, they might be talking the talk, but not actually present with the team. Also, the people that look very confident, which can be a double-edged sword because then it can be very, very difficult to question those people or give them an opinion that's different to theirs, when actually that confidence was mixed up with just volume. They were just the loudest and therefore appeared the most confident. And what I think is going to happen now is people are not going to follow that noise. They're going to follow clarity because we are all craving clarity. When so many crazy things are going on and there's so many changes to the world, to technology, to our jobs, we don't want to hear more noise. We want to be able to follow someone that we trust. And so the best leaders during times of uncertainty are the ones who literally embody stability, not the people that talk the best talk or give the best words, but the people who project that grounded calmness that people really, really need right now. So that is my first observation. Leadership is changing to be more favored to introverts. My second observation, and possibly my favorite, emotional intelligence, presence, and discernment are going to be the skills that are critical in the future. And actually, it's already happening. So I don't know why I'm talking about it like the future. There was a report in the World Economic Forum's Future of Jobs, and it actually ranks emotional intelligence, active learning, and complex problem solving in the top 10 skills for 2025. So emotional intelligence, active learning, and complex problem solving. So as an introvert, you may recognize a lot of that in yourself. We do love to learn. We love to research. We love to understand things deeply. We are naturally emotionally intelligent. And when we learn how to harness that, things like our empathy can be such a powerful skill. And complex problem solving, people going inwards to actually take time to consider patterns and long-term outcomes, not instant shout the answer out problem solving. Like they're looking for these deeper skills that we all naturally have. And none of these require people to be loud. What they actually require is the self-awareness to understand that you have them and the ability to remain calm under pressure so that you can utilize them in a way that is effective. Now, I have a client at the moment who is in a very, very niche industry and a very niche sector of that industry, who is seeking other roles or promotion. And they need very, very specific certifications and qualifications to be able to do the job that they do. And as they were looking around to see what was out there in the job market, they were shocked to see one listing specifically ask for emotional intelligence, because in that industry, they never talked about things like that. It was always, you needed to have these certifications, you needed to have this degree, you needed to have worked with this software. And suddenly things like emotional intelligence are being explicitly asked for in a job listing. And this is becoming the norm. If you are a business owner, your potential clients and customers are now more discerning than ever before. And they have more options than ever before because of the internet. And smart buyers these days are taking much, much longer to make large investments. And when they do, it's in companies and people that they feel safe with. And that safety comes from that emotional intelligence and that presence. Now, a Talent Smart study also found that emotional intelligence accounts for 58% of job performance across all types of roles, and that 90% of top performers scored high in emotional intelligence, which shouldn't be a surprise to us. But because it's one of those, I'm going to say, soft skills that's been overlooked for so long in favor of bigger and louder, I think it's really important to see that this is being not only recognized now in the workplace, but actually requested and understood to be something that is vital, especially when working alongside AI, because AI can throw out anything very, very quickly, give you a lot of information, but can it solve complex problems? No. Does it have deep emotional intelligence? No. That is literally where introverts are going to come in and plug the gap and help us to utilize these amazing softwares, but in a way that is more than surface level. So for instance, introverts often beat themselves up for needing more time to process. That's a conversation I've probably had over 50 times in this business alone, because they feel like they should be answering quickly. The person that answers first looks better. They look keener. They look like they're more switched on, all of these things. If you're not speaking up, it means that you're not engaged, or you don't have anything to add to the conversation. But actually, in the era of artificial intelligence, this rapid reaction is actually less valuable because we can just type it into ChatGPT and get the same thing. It's going to be the person who can pause and reflect and offer the right insight that is going to be more trusted than the person that just comes up with the first answer. So that is my second observation. And as I say, probably my favorite. As a highly ambitious and highly sensitive introvert, I'm sure it doesn't surprise you that I don't just like things that work well. I like things that work well and are beautiful. So whether it's skincare, technology, or my bedding, I want performance and luxury at the same time without compromise. That is why I genuinely love my Cozy Earth sheets. They're made from viscose from bamboo, which means they naturally wick away heat and moisture, allowing me to sleep several degrees cooler. They feel silky without being slippy, smooth without having a weird sheen on them. They just feel elevated. During this summer, these have changed the game for me. I wake up better, I perform better, and if, like me, you value efficiency and a bit of indulgence, you will totally understand what I mean. Cozy Earth give you 100 nights to try their sheets risk-free and a 10-year warranty, which tells you how confident they are in them, and rightly so. Head over to cozyearth.com and use the code INTROVERT for a massive 40% off. That's cozyearth.com, the code INTROVERT for 40% off. Your bed should be more than just a place to sleep. It should be your happy place, and Cozy Earth makes that possible. Observation number 3. Introverts have had to adapt shift to what we are now recognizing are outdated models of leadership and workplace hierarchy. Instead, we can now start to double down on how we are naturally wired. So it's not about learning how to be more extroverted. It's not about finding skills to fit into a certain role that wants you to be something that you're not. I mean, I would say this year alone, I wish I counted this, but I think off the top of my head, at least 5 applications to work with me as a coach came from people who said, I'm in a role that's very extroverted and I don't think I've got the right skills, or I need to change my skill set, or I'm about to be promoted or about to step into a role that requires me to be more extroverted. And actually, of the people that I worked with in that, they didn't need to change their skill set. They needed to change their mindset and reframe how they saw their skill set and how they could be valuable and what they deemed as, introverted and extroverted traits as such. So they have been able to work with then the way they are, the way they naturally are, the way we innately are. So, speak up more, do more networking, fake it till you make it. All of these things are actually inefficient for introverts because they drain our energy. And, as you can probably see from the first 2 observations, strategically, the best thing you can do right now is learn how to be more yourself, learn and value what you have to bring and own that and work with that. So deep listening will now be seen as someone with better insight. Someone taking time to thoughtfully consider or take a pause is seen as better decision making, not slower. And energy management, huge buzzword. I've been talking about energy for years, but it is a huge buzzword now because companies are realizing, or if you're a business owner, you will be realizing that we can't just go all out and give everything forever. There is a time when we will have exhausted ourselves. And actually, when we manage our energy efficiently and we can perform sustainably over the long haul, that is what is going to be relevant in the future of work. Okay, and my 4th and final observation is reframing what high performance actually means for the future. And I think this is an interesting one because high performance can sound a little bit masculine. It can sound a little bit like it's something that athletes would do. It can sound a little bro-y, like in the biohacking sphere. And I think that gives it a bad rep. So I looked for a reference or a quote or a description that I felt was aligned with how I see high performance for myself and my clients. And this is from Dr. Sandra Chapman, who's the director of the Center for Brain Health. And she defines high performance as the ability to think strategically, resist distraction, and make smart trade-offs. So if we look at that for the present and the future, think strategically. Yes, not think instantly, but think strategically. Resist distraction. It's huge. It is huge. It is something that I think I work with every single client on, about social media, about notifications, about being able to focus and do deep work, about resisting shiny object syndrome, about staying in their lane with what they're doing, about setting boundaries. All of these things are gold in the future of the workplace because most people cannot resist distraction. If you are able to, you are way ahead. You're way ahead of the curve already. And then lastly, she said to make smart trade-offs. It's understanding that there's always a compromise. So it's not just about doing more and more and more, which is what the rap that I think high performance can get, but it's about doing the things that matter and saying no thank you to the things that don't. So it's not about trying to keep up with everyone else and, keep up with how the extroverts are doing it and trying to be, like everyone else in the team. It's about knowing what's worth keeping up with and choosing to put your energy into that. Things in the workplace are getting increasingly complex, and there's more cognitive load on people than ever, both, in the workplace and at home. And, we're all glued to our phones for various reasons because you can't even, park the car or pay for anything without getting it out these days. And so we need to balance that with this discernment and clarity about what's actually important. What do I want to be doing? What do I need to be working on? So if we can cultivate that ability to stay grounded under pressure and to see the patterns that other people don't see from a strategic way, and then make really intentional decisions about where we are going to spend our time and energy and where our focus is, that is what is going to enable us to really win in this next era of work, which I'm very excited about. You can probably tell. So I would love to know if this episode resonated with you. Is the future something that you think about? I know for my clients and a lot of ambitious introverts, it is, because they have a very clear picture of what they want to do and what they want to achieve. And so when things are shaky and unstable and changing really rapidly, that can feel really disconcerting for them, because maybe they made a 5-year plan and they're 18 months into it and they go, whoa, things feel quite a lot different than I expected they would now. And that is why I have put together my first mastermind in, I think, 2.5 years. It is called Introvert 2.0, and it is an 8-week small group mastermind, which will help you stop playing this game that wasn't built for you and start building a new way of working that is absolutely essential to the future, whether you are in the workplace or whether you have your own business. What we're going to do inside Introvert 2.0 is train for the traits that actually matter now and for the future. So energy intelligence, emotional range, deep self-trust, so that you can lead, contribute, and really, and I don't always like to use this word, but I think it's relevant, and thrive without having to compromise against who you are, and really be very naturally aligned to the workplace of the future, and also to create in the future that you want, and to have the ability to do that. So as well as weekly core curriculum, which is going to lead you on the journey through this, there are also group Q&A sessions each week. And there's also 3 one-on-one coaching sessions with me. So this makes this a very, very high-touch, personalized experience, because I want you to be able to work on your development for the future in a way that's meaningful to you. If you would like more details, pop to the show notes. There is a link there. The first cohort begins next month, begins in September. So if anything I've said in this has really got you thinking, if anything has resonated, if you're already feeling this change around us with AI, with automation, with higher complexity and more pressure in the workplace, and you are someone that cares about your performance, not just now, but in the future, then please go and check out Introvert 2.0, because it could be exactly the thing that you need. Like I say, we kick off in September for the first cohort to wrap up in time for the holidays, meaning that you can go into next year in a very clear, very grounded, confident, emotionally regulated state to create whatever you want. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will be back in a few weeks with another episode of the Ambitious Introvert podcast. I'm Emma-Louise. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning into this week's episode. I hope that you're feeling expanded to what's possible for you, motivated to take action, and inspired about how you can start to own your energy. I share even more tools and resources on my Introverts only email newsletter. By signing up, you not only get early access to the Ambitious Introvert products and services, but you also get brand new podcast episodes delivered straight to your inbox every Monday, meaning you'll never miss your weekly dose of introvert-friendly inspiration. Sign up now at theambitiousintrovert.com/newsletter or click the link in the show notes. See you next week.